This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news.
It's Wednesday, August 13th, 2025, and here are today's stories. A crisis is unfolding in Iran as extreme heat and vanishing water supplies push the country to the brink. Dried up rivers, failing farms, and century-low reservoirs reveal a deeper issue than just climate. Can a piece of stone tell a story? Field Messenger Amy sits down with Scott, a world-renowned granite artist whose tombstones and sculptures are as emotional as they are extraordinary. Psychiatry has come a long way, or has it? We take a closer look at how today's medications stack up against outdated and often brutal treatments from the past, and why the science might not be as modern as it seems. 16-year-olds in the UK are about to make political history. With the voting age dropping, a whole new generation is getting a seat at the table before they can even drive. In Malawi, a small sewing program is stitching together big dreams. Field Messenger Helix shows how vulnerable youth are gaining purpose and power, one garment at a time. And finally, we step into the elegant world of the Lipizzaner horses. Field Messenger Monica brings us the story of Romania's deep connection to this centuries-old, high-stepping breed.
Iran is facing a serious water crisis, and it's hitting harder than ever this summer. With record-breaking heat and reservoirs at their lowest in a century, the country is struggling to manage dwindling resources. From dried-up rivers to farming struggles, the impact is being felt everywhere. And it's more than just a weather problem.
The winter of 2024 brought its own challenges with an energy crisis. But now Iran is facing an even bigger problem, an extreme water shortage. July saw Iran's hottest week of the year, with temperatures hitting more than 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit in some places. The heat, combined with drastically reduced rainfall, has pushed water reserves to critical levels. In Tehran, residents were asked to cut water use as reservoirs reached their lowest point in 100 years.
Taliban authorities have launched projects ranging from recycling water to building hundreds of small dams across the country. But larger interventions remain hampered by financing and technical capacity.
The services we provide in Kabul constitute around 20% of the total services. The remaining 80% of the people need water, for which there should be a 24-hour service to address their problems.
At one of Kabul's 15 pumping stations, the maintenance manager says the 7-year-old well is already producing less water. 2 others nearby sit dry. Projects that had taken off some years back remain stalled after the Taliban's return. Many international players have backed off big infrastructure projects and slashed funding to Afghanistan. The likes of Bibi Jan and their families pay the price, punished for the government that rules with or without their accepting it, because they've caught survival to think about first.
From empty reservoirs around the capital to dried up rivers and parched farmland in the south, the situation is critical. Rainland in some areas has dropped by as much as 77%, making an already tough situation even worse. However, this crisis isn't just nature's doing. It's also a result of long-term mismanagement. Outdated farming practices waste huge amounts of water, even though agriculture contributes little to the economy. Rapid urban growth and aging infrastructure are putting even more pressure on the limited supply, while overusing underground water sources has led to dangerous drops in water tables. This mix of issues is straining communities and damaging the land.
Iran only recently started tapping its groundwater resources, a trend that accelerated after the White Revolution land reforms. However, groundwater has quickly become the country's primary source of water, accounting for 55% of the total supply. In 2021, Nature published a major study of publicly available data in Iran's wells, It estimates that over 74 cubic kilometers of water was pulled out of the ground in the 13-year period from 2002 to 2015 alone. That is equivalent to the 34th largest freshwater lake in the world by volume, Amajuak Lake in Canada. In theory, drilling wells for groundwater should be regulated, but in reality, there is little enforcement of these laws. From 1979 to 2013, the number of wells in Iran grew from 47,000 to 789,000. Almost all of these are illegal. Not all of them successfully draw water, but it shows the size of the demand. As more groundwater is withdrawn, the water table declines. People are forced to drill deeper to get at that water. This is especially the case during the country's serious droughts.
Water scarcity is hitting Iran hard, and its impact is being felt across the board. Farmers are struggling with reduced crop yields, livestock losses, and restrictions like a ban on double cropping, all of which threaten the country's food security. Industries that rely heavily on water are also feeling the pressure, facing production cuts and economic setbacks. Even energy production is taking a hit, as dams don't have enough water to generate electricity. On top of all of that, the shortages are fueling social tensions, sparking conflicts over resources, and forcing some communities to relocate. If that wasn't enough, Iran is also locked in a growing dispute with Afghanistan over water rights.
Dispute is centered around the Helmand River, which originates in the Hindu Kush Mountains near Kabul and flows southwest before joining the Hamun wetlands in southeast Iran. Both countries heavily depend on the river to meet their agricultural and drinking water needs. For almost 30 years, Iran has been dealing with a drought problem, and the situation has worsened over the past decade, with an estimated 97% of the country now facing some level of drought. Iran has accused Afghanistan of restricting the flow of water from the Helmand River to Iran's parched eastern region and violating a treaty signed in 1973. According to the treaty, Afghanistan has to supply Iran with 820 million cubic meters of water annually, which the Iranian officials say has been compromised over the years. The treaty allows Afghanistan to hold full rights over the remaining water supply and to implement any projects it deems fit, causing tensions between the two neighbors. Iran has long accused Afghanistan of restricting the flow of water in the river by constructing dams. In 2021, Afghanistan inaugurated the Kemal Khan Dam to reportedly solve many of the region's vast infrastructural and agricultural challenges. Tehran believes the water restricts the flow of water that feeds the Hamun wetlands, but the Taliban claims it is committed to fulfill its obligations and that the water shortage is due to the prolonged droughts in the country.
Iran's water crisis isn't just a short-term problem. It's a complex mix of natural and human factors that's pushing the country to its limits. With rising temperatures, rainfall dropping, and mismanagement compounding the issue, the road ahead looks challenging. Long-term solutions are needed to prevent this crisis from getting even worse.
Today, UNN Field Messenger Amy interviews Scott, a granite artist known for crafting unique tombstones and sculptures. His work has earned international acclaim, including a spot as one of 6 global award winners. Amy explores the skill and passion behind his creations.
Field Messenger Amy reporting for UNN from Plainfield, New Jersey. So today I'm here with Scott, the owner of Lamperti & Sons, and they do tombstones.
Hello, I'm Scott Lamperti from Plainfield Groundworks, Lamperti & Sons. I've been doing this for 42 years now, and it's something that I really enjoy. My grandfather and his brother started back in 1921, but he left me such a nice reputation of making monuments, and I went to school and learned how to cut stone like he did, and I still use the tools that he left behind.
Do you have advice on, sometimes they want you to write an epitaph or something on the stone, and people are like, beloved this or whatever?
I'm not a big fan of the beloved father and mother. Everybody has, but they're also more than just a beloved mother and father. I have one now that's coming out. It's funny. It says, eat, nap, and repeat. The fellow was an engineer, very successful, but he loved to eat and he loved to take a nap.
Do different cemeteries have different rules?
Yes, every cemetery has different rules and regulations to what you can put on. Even in the cemetery, Depends what section you can be in, has different rules. So they have rules to the cemetery, the size and shape and color and what you can put on the stone.
And I'm just wondering, with the stones, sometimes you see they're polished, or there's a place that's not polished on the stone. Can you explain why?
So when they're designing the stone, most people like the polished stone. So they see the black stone and say, "Oh, that's pretty, all shiny." And I tell them I have to remove it on a small one to be able to put the lettering on it, and I'm only left with the old picture frame of it. The reason why we have the background whitened, so we have a dark letter we cut in deep, so when it gets wet or dirty, you can always read it. People ask me about lettering, and they want the stone have letters right on the polish. They don't want that white background. I show them this. I said, "There's the letters, but tell me what it reads." And they usually number one response is, "Wow." I said, "Well, the letters are there. It's just that water darkens them like dirt, and it's hard to read."
And aren't you an award-winning?
Yeah, I've won awards that got published many times in the trade magazines, which only come out 4 times a year. And they wanted to be able to come up with designs that they can use and sell that were something different or unique. And they picked, they had a contest for 6 of them. So this is the one I won, one of the 6 designs that was out throughout the world, actually. This is a bandsaw, which is a diamond way of cutting different shapes, and they wanted something different, unique, that nobody ever made before using that technology. There's so many different shapes and forms that you can use creatively to make it look like something other than a tombstone. So when I came with the policemen's, I used a badge type of design. The one that I did downtown for the Vietnam and Korean War, I made it something quite different, tall, cylinder on top to make it look like a flame, the eternal flame that was constantly in there. And we put it on a paper block system, which was a star. So it's red, white, and blue. You know, it's made out of granite, but a different shape to represent what we're doing, what the cause is. We've done some church ones where we had a Jesus holding a little aborted child, and that every life is precious. So there's a lot of neat things that you do other than a tombstone looking.
So what do you like most about what you do?
I like the creativity, but also, more importantly, like helping the family to represent the loved ones, memorializing them, and that's very important.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye now.
Psychiatry has come a long way, or at least that's the general impression. Not too long ago, mental health treatment involved things like lobotomies, insulin shock therapy, and prolonged institutionalization. These methods were often crude, painful, and based on a limited understanding of how the brain actually works. Psychiatric medication today is typically viewed as a more modern, science-backed solution. But is it really? Many of the medications still used today were developed decades ago and haven't changed much since.
Modern drug development usually relies on discovering new targets, specific proteins or receptors in the body that a drug can act on to create a therapeutic effect. But with psychiatric medications, nearly all the drugs prescribed today still target the same mechanisms that were identified more than half a century ago. Many of these medications were discovered by accident, and we still don't fully understand how they work. That's a big problem, especially considering these medications don't work for everyone. In fact, about half of adults with depression don't improve significantly with current antidepressants or antipsychotics, and side effects are common.
The problem with long-term psychiatric medication is that your brain doesn't like it. These neurochemicals, they're involved in the physiology of the whole body. They're involved in how your gut works and how your heart beats. And when you start to modulate them, homeostatic factors in the body kick in, and then they down-regulate the receptors that the drugs are acting upon, and you develop a tolerance to it over time. Maybe it works great for the first year to 18 months, but then you need a higher dose, and then you need a higher dose, and then also we don't really know that much about what happens to these folks long-term. But here's another side effect which no one's ever told about is tardive dysphoria, which is a state of lethargy and low motivation, anxiety and agitation that can be induced by the drugs. It's done something to the brain where they just never feel quite right again. And doctors will say you have treatment-resistant depression, but really their brains have changed from just being on the medications for so long. And whether it's Trentilex or Prozac, we are running into the same risks with all of these drugs in the long run.
Psychiatric medications work by altering brain chemistry. mainly by targeting neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Antidepressants, for example, often increase serotonin levels to help improve mood, while antipsychotics reduce dopamine to ease symptoms like hallucinations. ADHD meds typically boost dopamine and norepinephrine to improve focus. Though these drugs can be helpful, they're not a cure. They just manage symptoms and never get at the root cause of the problem. The real psychiatric medication boom came in the late 1980s with Prozac and other SSRIs. These drugs were easier to take, had fewer side effects, and quickly became a go-to for treating depression. Prozac wasn't just a new medicine, it was a cultural phenomenon. Pharma companies didn't just market it to doctors, they marketed it straight to the public, with ads saying depression was a chemical imbalance you could fix with a pill. And the numbers back that up. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, between the late 80s and early 2000s, antidepressant use basically doubled in the U.S. By the 2010s, about 1 in 8 Americans were on these meds.
When did this overprescription of psychiatric drugs really begin? Because I'm a 90s kid, and I remember in the 90s, like every kid that I went to school with was on Ritalin, and it was so prevalent. And a lot of the guys that I knew who used Ritalin would sell it in the bathroom for, $15 a pill to other kids. And it was wild how many of my peers growing up were taking these mind-altering substances. Do we know when this really started and what the driver was behind it?
I would say we can probably go back to 1987 when Prozac was approved for the general marketplace for adults, and it became widely available and then promoted as like this happy pill. This was a combination of, the drug companies working with the FDA and academics from major institutions in misleading propaganda around an SSRI, which is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, which is the first kind of antidepressant pill that is marketed to the general population. And what you just saw was a combination of that with direct-to-consumer advertising between the pharmaceutical companies and the United States media. They're the major funder of a lot of news and media, so they can really kind of control the message. They've really bought mainstream psychiatry. Psychiatry was a dying profession until they started aligning with the pharmaceutical companies to identify depression, anxiety as a brain illness.
But Prozac wasn't a miracle pill. Studies show the drug doesn't work for more than half of adults, and the side effects are a challenge. For kids and teens, there's also a risk of suicidal thoughts. So if these drugs have risks and don't work for everyone, why hasn't there been more innovation? It's partly because the brain is super complex and mental illnesses don't have clear biological markers, making new drug development tricky. Clinical trials are long, expensive, and often fail, which scares off investors. Plus, Big Pharma makes billions from existing meds, so there's less financial incentive to take risks on new ones. As a result, many people have turned to natural therapies to support mental health, such as regular exercise, mindfulness, healthy sleep, and dietary changes. A study in the Journal of American Medical Association found aerobic exercise like walking, running, or strength training can reduce depression symptoms as effectively as some antidepressants. Mindfulness helps lower stress and regulate emotions. Good sleep is essential since poor rest worsens anxiety and depression. And a balanced diet, rich in omega-3s, vitamins, and minerals also supports mental well-being. If you're thinking about stopping psychiatric medication, it's important to know that quitting suddenly is generally not recommended. These medications affect your brain chemistry, and stopping them abruptly can lead to uncomfortable and sometimes serious withdrawal symptoms.
That's where the idea of tapering comes in. If you've pushed a biological system like the brain in one direction, whether increased or decreased, doesn't matter. Your body will have adapted by doing the opposite. If we increase serotonin, it will lower its sensitivity to serotonin. It's called a downregulation. It means that our body is basically saying, you turned up the volume, I'll put in earplugs, or I'll do something to reinstate the homeostasis. But from that point on, the body is just in a literary sense, dictionary sense, dependent. It now depends on you taking the drug in the same dose. Because if you change it, then the body has to change its balance too. And that's what takes time. So withdrawal, really, one way to understand it is withdrawal is just a consequence of a drug leaving the body faster than the body can adapt. So there's a time gap. And that's where the idea of introducing a series of small steps for the body to get down to zero comes in.
At the end of the day, mental health is personal, and what works for one person might not work for another. It's important to do your own research, ask plenty of questions, and trust your gut about what feels right for your body and mind. Always talk openly with a healthcare provider you trust so you can make informed decisions together.
Amino acids play a vital role in maintaining your overall health and well-being. Not enough amino acids and protein daily can result in brain fog, hormone imbalances, digestive issues, cognitive function, lack of energy, lower immunity, decreased muscle strength, and much more. That's why we created our amino acid complex, packed with 21 free-form, easily digestible aminos that skip the breakdown and go straight to work energizing your mind and body. Used by athletes, vegans, and high performers. New Earth's amino acid complex helps your mind and body recover, rebuild, and renew daily. Subscribe now and optimize your life.
Hey, I'm Kirsten from Switzerland.
This is Wayne from Tucson.
Hi, my name is Desmond from Ghana.
I am Claudia from Dawsonville, Georgia.
I'm Mikey from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Steve McGrath, Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada.
People from all around the world are coming together.
Happy day, beautiful world. We are here in a rather small urban garden, and this video is just to show you the joys that we've had in this garden with the electric gardening.
When news happens in their area, they show us what's really going on.
We have people in the streets protesting for and against.
At United Network News, our field messengers are changing the face of news.
This is Field Messenger Helen reporting with Nature, and I'm going to talk to you about the bees again.
Take the next step in restoring our planet. Become a UNN Field Messenger today.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from South Africa. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to me. It's up to me.
It's up to me.
It's up to all of us. We're UNN, and we're taking back the news.
16-year-olds in the UK are about to make history. No driver's license, no pints at the pub, but soon they'll have the power to help pick the next prime minister. That's right. The UK government says the voting age is dropping from 18 to 16, giving a fresh new generation a say in shaping the country's future. Following in the footsteps of Scotland and Wales, this change will likely kick in by the next general election, expected by 2029.
Naturally, the announcement got people talking. Should 16-year-olds be allowed to vote? Supporters say 16-year-olds should vote since they can work, pay taxes, and even marry in some places, so they deserve a say in their future. Lowering the voting age could also boost youth involvement in politics and bring fresh perspectives to government. But critics argue 16-year-olds might not be mature enough to fully understand complex political issues. Others worry it could create more inequality since not all teens get the same access to political education. Wealthier schools often teach more about politics, and teens with educated parents tend to discuss it at home. Without leveling the playing field, this change might widen the gap between privileged and disadvantaged youth.
We didn't see that coming.
We thought there might be something in the wind at 1 o'clock today. That's when we thought this announcement was going to come. They've brought it forward. Obviously unhappy with the tone of this programme. So they've attempted to change the news agenda by announcing early plans to bring the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds. Just think about that. Have you got a 13-year-old at home? They're voting in the next election. Good or bad? It's all good, right? Democratic engagement, encouraging people to pay a bit of attention, hopefully moulding a media moving forward that will help them arrive at informed decisions. Or is it all bad? 13-year-old, he won't get off TikTok for long enough to cast a flipping vote. He'll probably vote for whoever promises to give him the most jelly babies.
Research from Germany and Australia show 16 and 17-year-olds are just as capable as slightly older voters when it comes to choosing a political party or representative that aligns with their views. In fact, studies from countries like Austria, Latin America, and Scotland show younger teens often vote more frequently than those who start voting at 18. This might be because younger teens are still in school and living at home, making them more engaged first-time voters compared to 18 to 20-year-olds who are often juggling big life changes like moving out or starting work. The tricky part is, when asked, teens don't seem too sure about voting. A poll of 500 teens ages 16 to 17 found only half think they should vote, and just 18% say they definitely would.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be.
Kids don't get a say in, like, politics and things.
Yeah,
and it's important.
Definitely. But I feel like kids would also need to be, like, a little bit more educated, because I feel like there's probably some 16-year-olds out there who, like, don't really have, like, a proper opinion.
Oh, I mean, it's democracy, helps democracy, I think. And, you know, look, they're probably more likely to vote for a party that I'll vote for as well.
Will you vote?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I get to choose who, like, bosses around the whole country.
Bosses around?
So, of course, makes all the rules.
I don't think some of them are ready to yet, but it will be great to see how it goes for them. Perhaps it will give them some empowerment, give them the opportunity to engage a bit more in the society they're in.
You're excited to vote?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be really fun, yeah. I get to have, like, a say.
Do you think most of them won't vote, or?
I think most of them won't vote. Yeah, I just think most of them won't vote.
A recent EU and UK research and innovation project involving 900 students showed a 5-lesson political literacy program boosted their confidence in engaging with politics. Now, researchers are calling on the Department of Education to make political literacy a must-have in the national curriculum before the next general election.
Who actually benefits if the voting age is lowered? Is it teens finally getting a say, or politicians trying to score points with a younger crowd? Either way, one thing's clear: the next generation is stepping up, and they're ready to be heard.
UNN Field Messenger Helix visits the Calen charity organization in Malawi, where a sewing program is helping vulnerable youth learn how to make clothes. Despite limited resources, the program continues to grow and bring hope to the community.
Helix Magope, reporting from Malawi, on behalf of UNN. We are running Calen charity, which is aimed at teaching the youth how to make clothes. We have about 21 students who are learning how to make clothes here. The teacher, Mr. Charles Kamanga and Mr. Robert, have explained some of the challenges which are faced by the school as far as making clothing is concerned. You can agree with me that the challenges are ranging from lack of sewing machines. We have only 4 sewing machines against 21 students. We have also another challenge on threads, and the other challenges include lack of text materials. This program will go up to 12 months, that is 8 or a year. After this, these students will learn how to make clothes for sale. Yeah, so Robert Kelly is a teacher here who volunteered to teach these students. He's a very good teacher. He's assisting us, assisting with students will help make textiles and clothes. This is a special machine that is used for in special occasions to finish a cloth after sewing. So this is a very, very expensive type of machine that cannot be obtained here in Malawi. These students, they are just on the waiting list. They have no machine. They are waiting for their turn. They are still waiting for their turn. They are lacking machines. We are asking well-wishers or sponsors to boost this program, whereby it is aimed at helping the youth in this community. Thank you very much. Good day.
Romania is a leading European breeder of Lipizzanas, one of the oldest and rarest horse breeds in the world. These elegant dancing horses have a royal history dating back to 1580. UNN Field Messenger Monica tells us more about this remarkable breed and its rich heritage.
Hello, this is Monica from Romania, Field Messenger, reporting for UNN. White as snow, graceful as a ballerina, the Lipizzaner is one of the oldest horse breeds in the world. The history of breeding of this royal horse breed, as the Lipizzaners are famously called, begins in 1580 with the establishment of the Lipica stud farm, today located in Slovenia, after which the breed got its name. These diamonds, known as being the ballerinas of the horse world, are on the endangered species list to this day. Although found in many countries in Europe and North America, the breed is relatively rare, with only a few thousand horses registered worldwide today. The number of foals born each year is small, but thanks to the passionate breeders of the breed, it is growing in numbers while maintaining its purity. The landscape around the herd I visited, it is amazing, as the Lipizzaner horses here. The stud farm is surrounded by green land and rivers, making it a heaven of peace and tranquility, and the view of the surrounding mountains and forests is breathtaking. 7 of the 8 bloodlines of the breed are bred at the Sâmbăta de Jos stud. The 8 bloodlines are named after the stallions that form the basis of the current herd: Favori, Conversano, Maestoso, Napolitano, Pluto, Siglavi Capriola, and Tulipan, as well as Incitato, a line bred in Transylvania that is internationally recognized. Lipizzaners, or dancing horses, as they can dance to classical music, are known for their rare and elegant beauty and their smooth and graceful gait. They are famous for their nobility, loyalty, and volcanic temperament. Their color is usually white or light gray, and their eyes are large and expressive. Lipizzaner foals are born with a dark coat, usually black or brown, and the color opens up each year. They gradually turn white or gray as they age, with the full transformation typically occurring between the ages of 6 and 10. Some Lipizzaner may retain their darker coat color throughout their lives, but this is rare. Lipizzan horses are highly intelligent, quick learners, attentive, ambitious, as well as obedient and hardworking. They play an important role in therapeutic riding. They have a tremendous positive influence. They charge you with positive energy. They bond easily and are very friendly. They respond immediately to your affection. The Miracle of the White Stallions is a good movie based on the story of Operation Cowboy, a story about how one can make a difference and help save a part of the culture for the world to enjoy. Thank you for watching.
UNN is changing the face of news. Join us for our weekly Field Messenger meetings and learn how you can make a difference. Visit unitednetwork.earth for more information. Thanks for watching.